Hey guys, David Duford here. Hope you guys are doing fine. I've got some friends in the business here today to talk about self-generation of Facebook leads. You probably have seen the interview with Tim and Julian with Advanced Agent Marketing. I brought them back here to do a little bit more of a thorough discussion on what they're doing and how they're helping agents learn how to self-generate their own leads. Tim and Julian, say hello.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having us,
David.
Hey guys, thanks. So I've got a bunch of questions here I want to ask you, but I think first, before we get started, in case my audience hasn't formally met you, please go ahead and introduce yourself and share more about what you guys do.
For sure. So the whole reason that way that we got started in this business, I got recruited. Tim and I were good friends at the time, ended up getting into the business together at the same time, brought a bunch of friends on. Long story short, basically, Tim and I ended up being the only ones that made it out of the group that started, right? We were fine, and we were looking at other options because of the lead situation in our IMO. And so we released a video on this talking about it, but in case you haven't seen it, basically what happened was we didn't have any leads for 6 weeks during the AEP. We were oftentimes ending up driving 2.5 hours one way, and then for the second half of the week, we drive 2.5 hours to the other side of the state. So, total distance in between was 5 hours, and we're going in between 3 different points from one side of the state to the other. It's pretty ridiculous. And we thought, this is such a great business. This can't be it. So Tim and I, started doing some digging. That's how we ended up meeting you, David, and deciding to move our contracts with you and start our partnership together. With you and everything. And so, we ended up, getting out there, moving into that relationship. And from there, we decided, we still had our contracts held. I remember you walked us through this process. We're still grateful for that because we had no idea what we were doing. But, once we started figuring everything out and learning more and more and more, we realized that it's actually very important for the agent to have control of their lead source, because if you don't have any way to control, we call it the water source, because ultimately that's what keeps your business running, the same way that water will keep you alive. If you don't control your water source and you gotta ask somebody for permission to survive every single day, at some point someone will say no, or they're going to run out of water because everyone's asking them for it. And so we started looking at options on how to do it, and then working with some agents and doing all of that. And so here we are now, after having helped dozens of agents with their own lead generation and everything. And that's more or less what we're doing. We're helping some agents in-house as well. We have a tiny little agency right now, looking on scaling that up. But we pretty much are just focused on helping agents generate their own leads.
So one of the things you talked about in your initial video did with me was how you guys are creating higher intent leads for much lower costs than what many agents can normally produce them for if they do self-generate, or what you can buy them from a Facebook vendor. There are some leads that we had looked at that you were getting them under $2 a lead. So can you kind of follow up and kind of describe how that has continued to be successful? Is that something that still is the case? Give us more details on generating higher intent leads at lower costs.
Absolutely. Well, to answer your question, it definitely is still the case. We have multiple students that are seeing lead costs under $2 fairly consistently as well. I think there's about 4 or 5 students that have actually posted screenshots in our group message showing leads under $2, and they're actually closing policies on them as well. So that's the big deal, right? Because you can anyone can throw up a Facebook ad giving away a gift card or a trip to the Maldives or the Bahamas or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, what you really want is a low-cost lead that converts. That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And so these leads are actually converting into policies. We have one of our students who spent, in his first week, he spent $270 on leads and wrote $5,000 in business. So the leads are not only generating at a low cost, but they're converting into sales and they're converting into policies, which, again, as agents, doesn't matter if you have 100 leads with a bunch of disconnected numbers and people who think they're getting something for free. What matters is you have a lot of leads, a high volume, and they all have some intent for life insurance. Yep. And so the way that we're able to do that, not to interrupt you there, is we include in every single ad that it actually costs money. So in every single ad copy, there is a mention of a price. So what we'll often do is we'll say, like, you can get this for as little as $1 per day, right? So instead of $30 a month, which looks like a scarier number, we're breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. So it's $1 a day or $1.59 a day or something like that. and every single ad that we run includes that kind of language. So it's very clear that it's not, something for nothing. It's very clear that this is not some giveaway or 2 free gifts or whatever. It's extremely upfront that it's for life insurance.
Well, Tim, I think that the craziest part, in my opinion, is as someone who has worked the paper stack of leads that we used to print off and door knock, talking about free this, free that, blah, blah, bribe leads.
Right.
Well, the crazy part to me was when I texted this agent to ask him if any of his appointments that had auto booked with him, 57% of those were off of auto books. He never talked to them in advance. He called them at their time that they scheduled themselves for and closed the policy. 4 out of the 7 policies that he wrote that week were actually auto books, which to me was absolutely absurd because that saves so much time.
So how would you, and you've kind of explained this, but let's make sure the audience understands, how are these leads different than just going to a retail outlet that generates Facebook leads and you can just purchase them through there? How would you compare and contrast the difference from what you guys teach versus just flat out buying them?
Sure. Well, the biggest difference is one, the control, the exclusivity, as well as the intent, right? And the thing is, it's like when you go and buy sausage from the grocery store, right? Versus going to your local butcher, right? You have no idea what's going on behind the sausage factory. They could be, their health standards could be off. They could be throwing in all kinds of mystery meat, like we saw the pink slime from McDonald's, right? You have no idea what's going on in the production process. And so when you actually create it yourself, you know everything that the prospect is seeing. You know the image they see, you know the ad copy they see, you know what they're actually filling out. Versus we've seen a lot of ads on Facebook. We'll go on the ads library and look at what other lead vendors are running. We've seen the gift card giveaways. We've seen people that'll run funnels for getting 2 free gifts if you fill out a survey. And then like right in the ad copy, they'll mention something about protecting your family with life insurance, but the image says nothing about life insurance or anything that would create an intent behind that lead. And then they're selling that lead to you for $30, right?
Well, it leads to an error page. That's what made me the most upset. When you fill out the form, it leads to an error page. So when you call that lead, they're actually pretty upset.
Right.
Because they thought they were getting gifts.
They filled out a whole form and never even received anything of their 2 free gifts. So the biggest thing is what's going behind it. You can create the ad yourself. We have an entire module that shows you how to create an ad from scratch. So you know everything that's going into the process behind what you're getting. And that's the biggest difference. As well as when a lead vendor sells you a lead and tells you it's exclusive, that is only as good as their word and only as good as your trust in that vendor, right? Because they can sell you the lead and then sell it to someone else. And there's no way that you can really know whether or not they're being honest and authentic about it. So exclusivity, knowing what's going behind it, and then also just the cost, right? If I can get 100 leads for $5 a piece, right, to be conservative, spend $500 versus get 50 leads and spend $10 each, I'm taking that every single day, or even $20 each. There's such a higher volume. There's more shots that you can get and more shots you can take. And at the end of the day, we all know that sales is a numbers game. So I'd rather have a high volume of leads that I know what they saw and I know what they filled out and I know are only exclusive to me than go to a lead vendor and leave all of that up to chance.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that I agree. One thing that all of us salespeople learn eventually is once you control the marketing, there's a lot of power in that. If you get good at it and you're consistent at it, when you are dependent on somebody else for that stuff, it may work, but you're at the mercy of them, right? And usually pay a premium for it.
Exactly.
So another question. So again, unless you're brand new to the block, there's a bunch of people now that sell Facebook courses and they have different angles and different processes, different price points. Can you give a brief summarization of how you guys at Advanced Agent Marketing are different than the other Facebook courses out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So David, we don't like to speak on things that we've never done before. We like to only speak from experience. If you ever ask me a question I don't know the answer to, I'll find someone who does, or I won't touch on the topic. I don't want to, make an uneducated statement. But what I will say is that we've bought some of these other Facebook courses. Not all of them, obviously, but we've bought some of them. And what we can tell you about the difference between our course and other courses is that a lot of them will teach you how to set up Facebook. And it really just depends on what you're looking for when you're in the marketplace. And so if you're looking for how to set up your Facebook ads, there are other courses out there that might be a great fit. But the truth is in our course, we go over everything from start to finish. It's step-by-step recorded videos, and just the same way that we break it up into bite-sized chunks for the consumer in regards to, you know, getting life insurance from us, or an agent that is purchasing leads, or an agent that is generating their own leads to, you know, sell life insurance to their prospect. We also break it up into bite-sized chunks so that they can create their own ads, write their own copy. We give them the formulas that we use. We give them everything. And one time, you know, there was a guy that we heard that we follow, Alex Hermosi. He said, make your free stuff better than their paid stuff. That's the PG version. But what he means is you want to offer more value than everybody else in the marketplace. And so when we looked at what else is out there, we made the decision right then and there that we were going to have to give them every single secret that we have, because if we didn't, there's no way that we could compete. And so when we created these videos, Tim basically screen recorded every single thing that he does from start to finish. I gave away sales secrets that I use, tactics, things like that as well. And we more or less just uploaded our entire system into this course. And any agent that gets plugged into this system is able to set their system up within 4 hours.
Well, not even only are we showing them what we do, but we give them the exact ad creatives, ad copies, and headlines that we use in our own ads still to this day, right? We haven't even really switched it up that much. We still use some of the same creatives, and we give them to the agents that buy the course.
Yep.
We give you all of our best performing ads, all of our best performing ad copies. It's all available to you just when you join the course and have access to the program. And we show you how to set everything up, you know, like you were touching on, how to manage everything going forward, because it's one thing to get Facebook set up. It's another thing to manage Facebook successfully. It's two completely different ball games. You can get, you know, $2 leads or $1.50 leads for a week, but at the end of the day, you're trying to build a system and a long-term business. So if you can do that for a week, you're a flash in the pan. But if you can do it for a long period of time, you can build a business and build infrastructure based off of that. And we give you the steps, we give you the methods, and teach you how to continually test and scale so you can have a long-term business based off of your own lead gen.
Great. One thing I've heard a lot of complaints about when it comes to the process of getting started is how complex it is. Setting Facebook up, running ads, dealing with potential Facebook shutdowns. I had a guy who said that I think he either did it himself or bought another course, like his account was shut down and then his wife's account was shut down. Just kind of constant frustration. What do you guys do to make this process as simple as possible and getting an agent up and running, and not just getting ads out there, but helping them keep them running successfully?
Right. Biggest thing we do is we offer support on the back end, right? We want to build a relationship with as many agents as we can possibly, because at the end of the day, this is a relationship business, not like a one-off kind of business. I'd say most businesses are like that, but especially the insurance business. So whenever you join the program, you have lifetime access to a Facebook group. And granted, at the end of the day, Facebook can be a pain in the ass sometimes, you know, just flat out. So they will still ban accounts even if you do nothing wrong. But the important thing is that you know the steps to do once that happens, right? If somebody's never ran Facebook ads and all of a sudden their account gets shut down, they have no idea what to do, they have no idea who to talk to, and they have no support, you're gonna be pretty frustrated, right? But if you have a problem, the key is to find the solution, not just obsess over the problem. And so what we recommend anyone to do that has issues with Facebook in our course is just tell us about it in the Facebook group, and we'll walk you through the steps to get your account approved. If for some reason, you know, Facebook is not going to reverse it, they're tripping, which happens. You know, Mark Zuckerberg's showing out here in sandals, a hoodie, and, you know, slacks. He doesn't really care that much at the end of the day. And so if you're not able to figure it out and you're not able to get your account overturned, you can reach out to us and we'll make it right, right? At the end of the day, we're looking for success stories. We're not looking for course sales. And so if for some reason it doesn't work out because Facebook bans your account, we're going to take care of you, right? And so while it does happen, it's not crazy common, but the important thing is knowing how to deal with it. And that's why we offer support on the back end.
So along with generating leads, you know, nowadays, especially for telesales, really face-to-face too, with any kind of high volume lead strategy like what you're talking about here, is the organizational concerns. A lot of agents, don't want to necessarily depend on a Google spreadsheet, right, to get leads and organize them. They want to have some sort of systematic process to follow up, looking at stuff, checking when they called, et cetera, so on and so forth. What kind of guidance or recommendation do you have on managing those leads after they're generated, and how to basically access them to get the most value out of them?
Absolutely. The thing is when we started in the business, I know, David, you and I have kind of talked about this, but for the people out there that don't know us, we used to get, we would pull 100 leads a week. And the 100 leads a week that we would pull, we were limited in how many we could actually get. The 100 leads were anywhere from 5 to 6 years old on average. Sometimes we would have some newer ones, sometimes we wouldn't. But we would get out a printout of a paper stack that was like that big. It looked like the size of like the Bible, maybe a little bigger. And we would have to use a paper cutter to cut the leads, and then we would have to go through and manually enter each and every individual name and address into a routing software to get to our people. It sounds hilarious. I'm sure some of you in the audience are laughing. I know Tim was laughing. It's hilarious. We were working in what felt like BC, and before Christ. And so when we got into this, we realized there had to be a better way with not only generating your own leads, not only staying organized, and we started looking at spreadsheets and stuff. But for me, I have ADHD. I can't find and work someone in a spreadsheet. I end up getting lost. I get distracted. And so what we did was we started looking at options on how to organize them. There's all sorts of CRMs out there and all sorts of programs that are available to organize your leads. And the truth is I'm not great with technology. So I said, Tim and I got, put our heads together and started looking at options. The truth is the average insurance agent is 58 years old. Most of these people did not grow up with technology. I was homeschooled. I didn't grow up with technology. And so what we did was we found something that we could put together ourselves that any insurance agent could use and manage their own leads, where they can take advantage of things like the auto appointment booking and the settings that are able to actually get out and help you work your leads, right? But it's also something that's intuitive and easy to use. It's like paper, but on a screen. Mm-hmm. And when we found something like that and we were able to kind of more or less put it together to fit for ourselves and other agents, it got a lot simpler. It was a lot easier. I remember the first time we started trying out this system, Tim and I were out knocking doors. We put some videos out on that. And it was funny because we had this spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet's fine when you got 10 people, but the spreadsheet gets weird when you have 250. And so I remember sitting in the car in front of this lady's house for about 2.5 minutes while we were looking for her name and number. And the lady just comes out to the car and is like, "What are you guys doing in my driveway?" And so that right there was pretty much the turning point for where we realized that something had to change. And that's how we ended up more or less getting involved with using a CRM.
So are you saying you guys have a CRM then, and you guys offer one? Can you give us a little more information about it?
Yeah. So basically, whenever a lead fills out a form on Facebook, within under 2 seconds, they're instantly added and routed right into your CRM, right? So we do offer a CRM. It's called Advanced Agent CRM. You get a 30-day free trial whenever you join the course. Afterward, it's only $79 a month. If you don't join the course, we have a 14-day free trial for everybody. I definitely would recommend checking it out. We're going to explain a little bit more about how it works. So again, right after the lead fills out the form, they're instantly, I'm going to call it zapped because everyone's used to using Zapier. They're zapped right into your CRM. And then a few seconds afterwards, a auto booking appointment bot, it's a mouthful. We both struggled with that one. Will text your lead, confirm that it's the right person, right? So if David Duford filled out a form, it's going to say, "Hey, is this David?" If you respond, it's going to say, "Perfect. This is Tim. I'm reaching out about that form that you just filled out on Facebook." No more of that, "Oh, I don't remember filling it out." You filled it out like less than 3 seconds ago. You definitely remember filling it out. All we need to do is run through a quick survey to see what you qualify for. Do you want me to go ahead and put you on the schedule, right? We can book an appointment now. And so after that, the CRM will start texting them the different times that are available in your calendar. Instead of just sending them a calendar link that they have to click on, we found that the no-show rate is a lot lower if you text back and forth with them to set up the appointment because they feel like they're talking to a real person. And so we have AI that does all of that, right? Like I'm not sitting at my computer, texting them back and forth times, referring to my calendar and seeing what I have open. The CRM does all of that, right? Once they book the appointment, there's auto appointment reminders to, again, reduce no-shows. We even have a chargeback chasing automation. That was the biggest frustration for us because once you start writing business and some of it charges back, which is just bound to happen. It's part of insurance. Doing all the admin work and trying to, reel people in and tell them they didn't pay their premium, that's not why I got into the business. If that is why you got into the business or anybody else did, then props to you, but it's just not me. And so that's something that we built in there as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be important to touch on within the CRM.
I wouldn't really say so. I mean, I think the biggest...
The drip campaign, the new client flow. So we have a campaign that follows up with all of your leads for a year if they don't book an appointment with you or get closed out as a non-interested buyer. As well as when somebody does become a client, we have a new client flow. So it'll follow up with them for, I think it's 3 months, to help keep them on the books. So
and
that's
cross-selling opportunities.
Yeah, cross-selling opportunities.
We mentioned for agents, a lot of agents are not, like for us at least, we've met most agents that like to cross-sell. We like to cross-sell. We were, Medicare.
That's where the money's at, dude.
That's where the money's at. We were
right.
the Medicare guys that sold life insurance. First, we started out with life insurance. I think anybody should. It's a great business. I think you should start out with life insurance and then stack, skill stack is what we call it. And so, when we were selling Medicare though and doing all that and selling the life insurance, it was very helpful, I would say, to be able to mention the other things that we did. And so when you start talking to people, I mean, it was something as simple as, oh yeah, by the way, I sell life insurance also. And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have that. Well, okay, great. Well, let's set an appointment. And when you start doing something, even if it's just something as simple as including that at the very bottom of your email, life, health, Medicare annuities, things like that, small things, and you start talking about things they should look out for that are, within compliance, your prospect starts to view you as their insurance agent, not an insurance agent, and that's the difference between being successful in this business and not.
And just to clarify, is this CRM that you're talking about, do you have to buy the course to get it, or something you can buy as a kind of a standalone system?
Absolutely not. So you don't have to be part of the course. If you do join the course, you get 30 days of a free trial. Everyone else, we offer a 14-day free trial, so you get 2 weeks to try it out. But you can do this if you're buying leads from a vendor. They'll be able to hook it up to the CRM and have your leads go in there. If you're doing direct mail, you can even upload your leads into the CRM. I personally like the Facebook leads because right after they fill it out, I can get in contact with them. But if you're a direct mail guy, you can upload a little CSV of all of your leads, and the CRM will work them as well. So it works for any type of lead. You don't have to be generating your own or buy our course or anything like that. The only thing is right now we have it mainly built out for final expense telesales. We're looking at adding on other product lines in the future. But if you are selling final expense over the phone, this is the best CRM on the market. It's built out, this is what we do, is final expense over the phone. And we built out every single step of the way, every single pipeline stage for that particular niche, final expense telesales. So it's built out totally for that. So if you're selling FE over the phone, this is going to be your bread and butter. It's going to change your business.
By agents for agents, I think is the best way to put it.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. And let me give you guys the next step. So first of all, just so you know, this is an affiliation that I have with both Tim and Julian and Advanced Agent Marketing. There is a link below in the description box. If you click that link, it'll take you to an overview page more about exactly what they've discussed and give you more details about how things work. If you have any questions below, Tim and Julian do read the comments. Feel free to throw them into the chat below. You're always welcome to reach out to me at daviddeford.com/contact as well. So again, if you're interested in learning more, getting the course, or signing up for the CRM, follow the link in the description box and just click it, and then you'll see what to do. Tim and Julian, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. And we'll throw you 2 different links. One will just be for the CRM if you want to get the 14-day free trial and test it out for yourself. And then a different one if you want to join the course, get the 30-day free trial, and start generating your own leads.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, David, talk soon.
What's up, Tim and Julian? Hey, Trevor Trabian here, coming from Las Vegas, Nevada. Wanted to shoot you a video just to tell you about the course so far. I'm really loving it. A couple things. You break down so much what you got to do step by step to really get into Facebook advertising. I've never seen anything like this, especially for our niche, which is final expense, possibly your mortgage protection, maybe getting into Medicare, that sort of thing. Very detailed. I've literally the last couple days just been sitting down in front of my computer and running campaign. Got it running the other night, had leads literally coming in within a couple minutes. One of the things I'm really excited about this course is what it allows me to do to be able to stay creative. Because not only is he telling you the steps to be, hey, do this, do that to get the lead, but also showing you what's behind it, the thinking behind it, so you can put on those creative juices and keep scaling. So I'm excited to keep going on this. This is a great value. I'm glad I ran into you guys. Thanks so much. Looking forward to keep this thing rolling. Take care, guys.
Hi, my name is Nick Woog, and about a month ago, I hooked up with Tim in advanced agent marketing to explore Facebook advertising. I had some experience on my own, and I was a little concerned or just shy about, could the results really be what they were showing the results to be? And after a month of doing this, I emphatically say yes. I am capturing more people, more information, making it easier to build my drip campaigns with people. I just couldn't be more pleased with what's happened. I think it's a great program, and you should take a serious look at it.